really sure how to start this. So I'm just going to talk all of the hashtag feelings. That's Jack. He's very perturbed right now. I don't, can you say hi to the camera, Jack? He doesn't know what we're doing. And Juanita also is very concerned. So I wanted to just take a moment to talk to you guys today about my journey, because I feel confident that if I am on this journey, that at some point in time, somebody else has been on this journey, and perhaps you aren't in this particular lane yet, but you might be, or maybe you're thinking about it. And so I wanted to share my experience with everybody and just kind of talk about what that looked like for me. So I'll give you a brief history of who I am and kind of what led to where I'm at. So my name's Haley, for those of you that don't know me. I have been a nurse for the last 10 years, specializing in trauma and emergency medicine. And as most of you know, the last year has been, that's the word they always use, unprecedented. Unprecedented. It's just been shitty, okay? Can we just say that? It's been shitty. So, I'm sure, like most of you, we have been planning our exit strategy from the bedside, probably from like year 1 or year 2. And if you don't say it out loud, we all know you're thinking it. So, I started on a med-surg floor, worked there for a year, went down to the ER, worked there for several years, did some travel nursing for, 2 years, went back to my home hospital and kind of moved up the leadership chain, if you will, and then transitioned into trauma services. From there, I honed in on my leadership skills and made the decision after 2 semesters of NP school, right? Because every nurse is going to be an NP. That's their goal, right? Or a CRNA or whatever. Made the decision that I wanted to be an administrator. And so landed a job as a trauma program director, and alongside the support of my team, successfully converted a level 4 to a level 2 trauma center. Then made the very rash decision to completely start over my life and move 8.5 hours back home to Amarillo. And if you're not from Texas, Texas is very big. Amarillo is at the very top of Texas. Austin's almost at the bottom. So moved back home, went back to the bedside, which was horrible. But like riding a bike, it just is what it is. You have to do what you have to do. And so quickly moved back into leadership, became a manager of an ER, and then became the director of that ER. Graduated in May of 2020 with my MSN in Leadership and Administration, and here we are. So I think most of you can appreciate hospitals that are not well-oiled machines. I was very fortunate in my time in Austin to have worked at a facility that was very, very organizationally sound. They had the infrastructure to provide the services they were providing. They had a lot of support. They had a lot of leadership support. And so it was very well-oiled. And it made my time there good. Right? I didn't leave that hospital jaded, thinking, what the hell am I doing with my life? I hate this. No, I left willing to go back to the bedside because I assumed that the hospital I was going to would be a well-oiled machine. Well, if any of you have ever traveled before, you know that that's not the case. And you just have to grin and bear it, and it is what it is, and you're appreciative of the greener grass, and you plan your exit strategy, which was leadership for me. So, bad idea, lots of red flags. probably not wise to plan my leadership strategy, or my exit strategy to be a leader in a facility that was not well oiled. And when I say they're not well oiled, I mean they don't have the infrastructure to be offering the services they're offering. They don't have the leadership support. There's no administrative support. There's no staff support. It's very much a culture of this is the way it's always been and this is the way it's always going to be, and there's no room for change here. And so, flash forward, I'm an avid snowboarder. I went to Park City for vacation, first vacation in a very, very long time, at the beginning of February. During my time on vacation, mind you, at this point I'm the director, there wasn't a day that went by that I didn't receive some sort of panicked phone call or a panicked text message. Golly, bless you. From one of my staff or something like that. The place is on fire, the building's on fire, and you've got to triage, what's important while I'm 15 hours away on a mountain strapped to a board. So that was super annoying. Take away the annoying part, I found out on vacation that the state-supplied nurses that my department had would be demobilizing, meaning we would be getting rid of these state nurses, and with a plan to complete this, I think at the end of March. Talk about letting the wind out of my sails. I felt totally and utterly defeated. Wow, I'm in this most, beautiful, amazing place on earth. And it really took away from my vacation. My boss emailed me constantly while I was on vacation, texted me. There was zero respect for this time that I desperately needed to get away. And I found myself returning from Park City. I was in the airport in Salt Lake and had a breakdown. Not like one of those crazy breakdowns where TSA had to put me in a room and sedate me. I just had a revelation and one of my good friends sent me a video it's Gary Vee. If you're working for the weekend, if you are working Monday through Friday to get to Friday, your shit is broken. If you spend all day on Sunday depressed because you have to go back to work on Monday, your shit is broken. So, of course, I was that sad person on the airplane that started bawling when the plane took off, and this poor guy next to me had to hand me a Kleenex, and he was very uncomfortable, and it was fine. The crying only lasted for 5 minutes. Totally fine. But it took this breakdown for me to realize, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? Why am I allowing myself to suffer when I don't have to? What's the point? So, that's where we are today. I came back from that vacation 3 days later. I put in my notice. When I put in my notice, I gave a 2-week notice because I had just hired a manager. I had an educator. I don't like long goodbyes, right? It is what it is. The place will keep running. I didn't feel the need to put in a 30-day notice, although that's what I did at my last job, because they didn't have a replacement and they needed things to be done. There was nothing for me to do, right? So I gave 2 weeks. They asked for 30 days. I agreed. When I tried to negotiate that 30 days to 25 days instead, I was told, never mind, my services are no longer needed, and 2 weeks is fine. In that 2 weeks, let me tell you about the flip, the transition. Sophie, that stethoscope is not for you. Nobody would talk to me anymore. There was zero engagement from my leadership team. Nobody asked why. Nobody tried to stop me. Not that I needed anyone to stop me, and not that that would have changed the outcome. But just some some glaringly vast differences between my last facility, where I put in my notice because I was relocating, right? And the facility that I was at now, where there was just zero, it was just baffling to me. So anyways, they successfully hired a new director in a 2-week time frame, which is like almost unheard of at this facility. And anyways, here I am. It's Tuesday, 11:30. I don't have a job. And that's okay with me. Now, I wouldn't recommend to you guys to like quit your job if you don't have a backup plan. Backup plans are important, but let me say that there was a specific reason that I quit without a plan. I have always been the type of person to make a plan to make plans, right? I'm a planner. That's what I do. I have pins and keys for what each pen color means in my planner, and it's a thing, and it's, I'm very, very particular when it comes to planning. So this was all so that I could get uncomfortable, right? And not having a plan. So my last day was Friday of last week, so I don't know, 3 or 4 days ago. And it is a very strange feeling not having a plan. But I wanted to jump on here and just tell you guys that you don't have to be uncomfortable all the time. You don't have to live in desperation and misery all of the time. And I think as nurses, we hang on to this title of, I mean, look at these 2 degrees behind me. I spent a lot of time, money, and effort to get those, right? You don't want to throw them away. But at what cost, right? Let's talk about that. What cost are you willing to let these 2 pieces of paper ruin your life? Time with your family, time with your kids, time with your loved ones, time with your friends, time, doing your hobbies. Are you willing to let that notion that you worked so hard for these 2 degrees ruin your life? Think about that. I'll say it again. Are you willing to let a piece of paper ruin your life? No. Why? For what reason? If you are miserable and you are working for Friday, or you're working for your Friday, whatever day of the week that lands on, if your boss is an asshole, if your coworkers are bullies, make a change. You're not a tree. You can move. And maybe you're rooted wherever you're at. That's fine. Figure out what you love and do it. Now, I know most of you are going to say, Haley, that's not easy. How do we do that? Do your research. Stop being a lazy piece of shit. Figure it out. Get online and Google. I've done this 20 times. What do I do if I don't want to be a nurse anymore? There's a lot of stuff that popped up that I'm not ever going to do. But, figure out what you're passionate about. I think at one point in time, maybe we were passionate about being nurses. Maybe you weren't. Maybe you just did it because it was a good career path and, job security. But figure out what you're passionate about, truly passionate about. Stop working for the man. Figure it out. Do the work. You will reap the benefits. So, I'm going to leave you guys with that. This is my first, what do you call it? Video? I don't really know what my plan is, but I thought that I'd document it. So, anyways, c'est la vie. This is life. We can do hard things. Stop putting up with bullshit. Do it for your damn self. Have a good day, guys.